to close off, I'm sure there's you've mentioned or hinted towards a few people that have helped you along the way. It's just an area of the content gathering where we allow or encourage the community to thank those that have helped them along the way. So platforms, individuals, doesn't matter about competitors if or perceived competitors with the alliances, right? Is there any platforms out there or any individuals that you want to shout, to say thanks? Many moons ago you had a chat with them and they went, actually, I steered my career a little bit, right?
Yeah, so platforms, I don't think so. I mean, I'm a member of obviously this one and Club CISO and things, so I've got much more into them as I've grown. So I don't know if there are platforms for more junior people. I think that's an area that we could grow, right? I think you guys, I think what you're doing here is probably great, right? So I'm part of the advisory board for Club CISO. I'm on this. I'm in another one called Cyber Kingdom and stuff. So there's a few WhatsApp groups and chat groups I'm in now that are really useful, but they're very much security leadership CISO type ones. So they're great now, but it didn't necessarily help me get here. In terms of my career, probably Jonathan Sartin, I mentioned, the guy who first showed me some security stuff at Ocado. He was brilliant, and I still chat to him occasionally to this day.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a great guy, really just a fountain of awesome knowledge. Also at Ocado, actually, is a lady called Cheryl Nixon. She was one of those people at the time I thought was a real pain, because she would ask those questions that were just annoying, but it was those questions that made you think. So it's like I said, the person was why, right? So she was brilliant at like challenging stuff and making you try and really explain the why and the how, so that you got to the best answer because someone was asking those annoying questions, right? So those two probably early on in my career are massive influences. And then I guess more recently, the one that I'd shout out is David Williams, who was the CIO for Just Eat. And he took that chance on the person that was ahead of a small security function within WorldPay to say, hey, you can have your first CISO gig, and consequently spent 3.5 years there building a team of about 28 by the end of it, and the whole security program and stuff. So that got me that leap into the world. And obviously, as I'm sure everyone knows, once you've got a title, it's much easier to move around than being the person who's stepping up into it. So they're probably three of the people that had the most impact on my career in terms of helping me problem solve and get into security early on, and then getting that first CISO gig. So probably the biggest influences. And actually, I'll go one more. Alan Osborne, who was the CISO of WorldPay when I was there, he gave me a lot of opportunities to kind of grow in his team. Him and Sam Butler, who was my actual boss in that team, had a huge amount of growth there and went from kind of I can't remember what title was, manager of something, to senior manager, head of. So I had kind of got a big chunk of growth at WorldPay. So those 4 chunks, 2 people who helped me get good at problem solving, get in security. Alan Osborne, Sam Butler, and WorldPay, who just helped me progress my career an awful lot. And then Dave Williams, who gave me that opportunity as my first CISO.
Amazing. I'm sure they appreciate it, mate. Like there's awards. The reason I put it out there, because there's award ceremonies and all that sort of stuff that goes on in the industry. But it's nice to hear from the people that you've actually influenced and where they are now. It's an incredible part of especially our industry, if you like, because it's an ever evolving, undeveloped route to the top, right?
Those things are a bit interesting, because a lot of those, not saying they go to people who don't deserve it, but a lot of them go to people who are well known, right? So the people who are outspoken, the people who you see, and there's an awful lot of people doing really, really awesome jobs in security who just don't want to shout about it. If you look at the number of people, even in like the limited number of CISOs in the world, look at the number of people who are heads of and CISOs who everyone knows who they are because they talk a lot and they're on LinkedIn and they go to do conferences, versus the number of them that there are in the world. It's a really small portion. So I think awards and ceremonies are great, but it's actually the ones that are quietly just doing really awesome jobs and keeping their organizations safe that deserve just as much praise, even if they're not out there and don't necessarily want to be out there, right?
Completely agree, mate. The criteria for those types of things, right, are based on very little quantifiable qualitative information, right? I think it is the vocal ones, but it's the opinions of the quiet ones that tend to be the most valuable at times, right? Which is great. No offense to the ones that are vocal, right?
No. I often wonder, because I question it because I talk a bit, but I try and balance it with make sure I'm doing my job well as well, right? And it's how much time you spend trying to help the industry and talking to the industry versus how much time you spend helping your organization and your family and whatever else, right? So there's no issue with either. I just think it's and it must be hard if you're doing a award ceremony. You don't know who's doing the quiet job, right? Because they're not out there. So you have to pick from the people you know about, and the people that everyone knows about are the ones that get voted for because everyone knows about them, right? So I think it's kind of self-fulfilling. It's not that it's wrong, but we should take that moment to recognize all the people that are sitting there in security operations and other bits of security teams and heading up teams and dealing with incidents every day and probably struggling with lack of sleep and hard work like the rest of us, but just doing it more quietly. And I think, kudos to everyone that's doing a great job and helping our industry.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your time. Yeah, I'm sort of resonating with so much that you've said, and even more so from the community build in the alliances. We're just sort of building our own sort of CRM platform and gone through how many conversations that we've actually had over the last 7 years building the alliances, and there's in the thousands, So the conversation that you're having here is just I'm picking points in my time and in my time here at the alliances that your points will resonate for so many. So hopefully they get a chance to hear it. But yeah, thanks very much for the time, Mike. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Really enjoyed it.